I 35F, have a wonderful 9-year-old daughter. She is smart, and outgoing and just incredibly strong. 2 years ago, me and my ex-husband divorced. He fell out of love with me and fell into the bed of a 21-year-old. It's a story as old as time, but it doesn't hurt any less. About 6 months ago, I was mugged on my way home from work. I was messed up, I was covered in bruises, and in a lot of distress mentally. My ex is not a present father. He moved to France for work about 3 months after the divorce was finalized, so he wasn't able to help look after my daughter while I was healing. She spent some time with my mom. But she saw me at my worst. I have a lot of guilt about that. She began getting very anxious to leave the house. She didn't want to leave my side. She was worried mommy would get hurt again. A friend of mine's son was being bullied at school a while back. She enrolled him in some karate classes, not for fighting, more to build his confidence, and it really worked for him. She suggested that maybe putting my girl in some classes may help her feel more secure. I suggested this to her and she wanted to do them, but wanted me to do them too. Which, to be honest, was probably a very good decision. I spoke to the sensei and asked if I could sit in on the beginner's class with her, etc. I explained the situation, and he agreed. We both loved it. She picked it up so quick and she loved the play activities with the other children. A few months after we started, she was leaps and bounds ahead of me and ready to play with a more advanced level of students. The bonus of that is the night the advanced kids met was after the beginner adults met. So we changed out nights. I started training with adults. She carried on with the advanced kids. She has picked it up so quickly. Her confidence in her ability is sky high too. A few times when we have been out, she has seen something that has worried her, like someone walking towards us, and she will grip my hand a little tighter and move herself in front of me. I keep reminding her I am the adult, we are safe, and this is not her burden. For anyone wondering, mental health care is hard in the UK. We are not very well supported. She has spoken to a counselor that works with her school. She hasn't said that she needs to see anyone more, but we are on a waiting list. Therapy never hurt anyone, so why not look into it? But I can't afford to go private, and the NHS just takes a very, very long time. Fast forward a few weeks. Last week was her first week back in school after the summer holidays. There was a new student in her class. We will call them Alex. Alex and my daughter have become the fastest of friends. She couldn't stop speaking about him on Monday when she came home from school. Alex likes this food. Alex likes this TV show. Alex said. Alex did, etc. It's adorable. But my kid has took it upon herself to be Alex's bodyguard. Alex is a very expressive child. They wear a school uniform, but Alex likes to wear nail polish. He has long hair which they were pulled back or in a plait. He has bows on his shoes. He just wears what he wants and has the confidence to rock a potato sack if that is what he feels comfy in. His parents are amazing too. They have been so welcoming of my daughter and me too. We have had drinks this weekend after the incident and they are wonderful people. So, the incident. Last Thursday, Alex changed his black nail polish for a deep plum purple color. Some of the boys in their class decided to show how bad their upbringing was and told Alex, "You're a boy, you shouldn't wear girly things, because that's what makes you gay." Both Alex and my daughter told them to shut up, and go bother someone else. This is when one of the bullies says, "If you're wearing girly stuff tomorrow, I'm going to kill you." Yeah. You read that right. So my girl, being a defiant little menace, decided she wasn't going to tell an adult. We have had a very long conversation about this. Don't worry, and she was going to handle this herself. Alex also decided he was going to handle things his own way too. Friday morning rolls round. The plum nail polish has gone, and in its place is the most beautiful and vivid pink you have ever seen, and his hair was in an elaborate Viking style plait. It must have took a while. It was stunning. Well, apparently, this was like waving a red flag in front of the bully boy's face. He marched up to Alex and told him he was going to kill him at lunchtime. My girl told him he could try, but she wouldn't let him. Lunch came around and they were outside for playtime. True to his word, the bully started to run at Alex and my girl took him out. Now, bear in mind, up until this morning I only really had the details from 2 9-year-olds. So when Alex told me she flew, I was fairly hesitant to believe him. He told me she punched the boy in the face, made him bleed, which made him cry, and now he is petrified of her. I got a phone call from the school after lunch asking me to come and pick her up because she has been suspended for fighting. Alex was refusing to leave her and saying that if she was suspended, so was he, because it wasn't her fault. Alex's dad arrived at the same time I did to collect out kids. The headmaster told us that it was pending an investigation and we would be called in for a meeting on Monday. Obviously, when my daughter told me the full story, I was livid. I asked why she didn't tell a teacher. She said she wanted to handle it so he knew he couldn't threaten people. But she told a teacher after the fact and they didn't believe her. So I am even more livid at this point. I contact Alex's parents and discuss, have a drink, bond over our kids, etc. So, this morning, 8 a.m. rolls around. I am sat in front of the headmaster. He begins to bemoan about how my daughter has brought violence to the school, how she has broken a boy's nose, and I shit you not, how this is very unladylike behavior. I was honestly aghast. We are a zero-tolerance school when it comes to violence. My daughter had been stood on top of a little wall at the edge of the playground, essentially keeping watch. She saw the kid running towards Alex. When he got close enough, she launched herself off the wall, straight at the boy. She essentially did a flying punch, landed on him and then proceeded to lock her arms in his and keep him in place until the playtime supervisor arrived. I asked him how his investigation has gone, and he said he has spoken to the boy and because this was a completely unprovoked attack, my daughter would be suspended further for the week, with a behavior management program, and she would be expected to apologize to the boy she hit. I'll be honest guys, I have never been the confrontational type, I think it skipped a generation. But in that moment I summoned the spirit of my little girl. I asked him how he could have completed the investigation if neither my daughter, Alex, or the parents had been involved, how he had come to such a conclusion without any facts or evidence. He just stumbled over his words. I asked him, so is this what happens when students call someone names and threaten to kill them? You punish the person protecting them. He was silent and said it was the first time he has heard of this and that he had been told it was unprovoked and my daughter was the only aggressor. I asked him who told him this and he was silent. I then called him a liar and that he was informed of the situation because both my daughter and Alex told him. I left the meeting telling him that my daughter was not suspended, however she would not be in school until the situation had been dealt with to a satisfactory conclusion. I have emailed her teacher and asked her to forward any work she would have been doing in class and she will do it from home. I have her with me in the office today, and my boss is letting me work from home for the rest of the week. I know I am responsible in part for what she has done. I know violence isn't the answer. I am very proud of her for standing up for what she believes in, but we have had a talk about how she needs to always tell me things like this. I am furious with her school. I called Alex's mom when I got out of the meeting. Alex isn't in today because they are having a meeting this afternoon about the bullying Alex has been subjected to. She has supported my actions though and said that if she doesn't get the right response today she will be pulling Alex too. There aren't many primary schools locally that will have space left for them if the best decision is to pull them out of this school permanently, but I am not happy with how the headmaster has dealt with the situation, to be honest. Update 1. I am not sure how updating works, but after the many responses I received yesterday I just wanted to keep you all in the loop of the situation. I asked the mods if I was allowed to post an update and they agreed. Thank you mods. If you don't know me, is my post from yesterday. Firstly, please can I thank everyone in the comments showing support and sharing your own stories. Thank you. I honestly thought, and still do to some extent, that I have effed up and failed my daughter. I thought her need to protect came from the fact she had seen me so broken. A comment which I have now lost said something along the lines of Mummy got hurt by bad people, and now her friend is being threatened, so she wanted to stand up for us. As honorable as that is, I don't want my little girl to feel that way. I want her to be a child for as long as she can be. I want her to play with her friends and have no cares in the world apart from who's going to be the goalkeeper or if she wants ham or turkey on a sandwich. Do you know what I mean? I have spent some time with her over the weekend and last night reassuring her of that fact. I am always in her corner, I am always right behind her, and I will always believe her, no matter what. She has promised me going forward that she will always tell me, from the small things to the big things. I'm her mom, no matter her age, she is always going to be my baby and I am always going to go to bat for her. We have also discussed if she feels safe in the school and if she feels the teachers would have dealt with it if she had told them. She said she feels safe, but she doesn't know if they would do anything, but she has never asked. This is something I will be keeping an eye on and discussing with other parents if their children have similar feelings. So, on to the update. My daughter is suspended until Wednesday. I had a meeting with the deputy headmaster, because the headmaster is unavailable today. Alex's mom, who for ease I'm going to call Joanne, had a meeting with him yesterday afternoon. For context, my meeting with him was about 20 minutes long. Joanne kept him locked in the office with her for nearly 2 hours. In those 2 hours, she made him go through chapter and verse the anti-bullying policy and explain each point to her. Joanne told me she had him admit that what the other child said to Alex alone should have been grounds for punishment. He still claims he had not been told about the threats and wants to open an investigation into his staff to get to the bottom of it. Joanne told him she didn't care right now how he handled his staff. He needs to stop trying to place blame elsewhere, and take accountability. She told him, her first and only concern right now was that her child had been at the school less than a week and had received a threat of death twice, and the only person being punished is the only person who stood up for him. He reiterated that we have a zero-tolerance policy, to which Joanne stopped him mid-sentence and asked him why her son wasn't included in that policy. He apologized and said I can see how that could look that way, however he has not said how he would be fixing it because he has to do another investigation. I am starting to think he has a word of the day calendar or something. My meeting with the deputy head was very basic. I think it was essentially just to placate me, but I have everything documented if I need to go through this again. My daughter has been suspended for fighting. She can return to school tomorrow morning. I did ask if the other child will be punished, but was told they can't discuss the other child and TBH that is fair, but I will be monitoring the situation. There will be no behavior report or forced apology. Last night, we went to Alex's house and had dinner. Alex keeps telling my daughter you're on my Christmas card list for life. I don't know where he got it from, but they think it's hilarious. My daughter has convinced Alex to try karate. They are very excited. It's karate night for us on Thursday. I will be talking with Sensei Paul about the altercation, just so they can have a chat about safety, when to fight, etc. More than anything else, I just want her to be safe. She isn't an army, she is still a little person and she needs to remember that sometimes I also told my daughter I told her story to some people online, and I showed her some of the nicer comments. I asked her if she would like to choose a name you can call her. She has chosen Hawk. Suddenly something clicked into place. The flying punch she did, it was a Cobra punch. The character Hawk, Cobra Kai, does them a lot. You sort of kick your leg like you're going to kick the opponent but instead move with a punch. No one has taught her this move, but I have seen her jump off the settee and sort of do it before. When we started doing karate, I took that as an opportunity to introduce her to the Karate Kid series, and obviously following that we started Cobra Kai. She is absolutely obsessed with Hawk and Tori. Minor spoiler for Cobra Kai, please don't talk to her about the end of the last season. She is very upset with Tori right now, so we have now had another discussion about how we shouldn't replicate things we see in TV and movies. Parenting is hard. And I have the teen years to come yet. I might just dye my hair gray now and get it over with. One more thing I would like to address. I had 2 really horrid DMs regarding Alex's gender identity and sexual orientation. Firstly, they are 9. He is figuring out who he is. If they are LGBTQ+, then that's who they are, but it's no one's place but Alex's to determine that. He likes bright colors, he likes how makeup and nail polish makes people look, he is just unapologetically himself, and we can all learn a thing or two about that. Oh, another thing, I never understood why people felt the need to justify themselves to the people in the comments claiming their stories were AI generated, but now experiencing it, it kinda stings a little. I am not writing this for validation. I don't know enough to care about whatever karma points are, and I wouldn't know how to use ChatGPT if my life depended on it. I can't prove to you I am human, and this is real, nor does it really matter. But please be careful who you say that to. Someone could be out here pouring their heart out and you completely diminish that by diminishing them. Just be kind to people, or don't say anything at all. You know what they say, opinions are like assholes, everybody has one and they all stink. Anyways. Hawk saw some of the comments saying she deserves a treat. A lot of you were saying ice cream. She doesn't want that. Now on to second story. Discovered my parents were secretly tracking me to control my love life, causing tension with the guy I genuinely like. Hi, I'm a 24F and I live on my own out of my parents' house. I have a bit of a situation-ship going on with my friend. We will call him David, 24M /. We had a fling a few months ago and now it's kinda happening again. It started out just hanging out and enjoying David's company, then it slowly turned into more again. The thing is, my parents knew about the first fling. David used to be inseparable from my dad. They were like father and son in a way. Until David and I had our fling. Now my dad is trying to control him. Telling him he is to have no contact with me outside of a group chat we are all in. We think this is stupid. A few weeks ago we were hanging out and we went to Five Below to get snacks and just hang out. While we were there my parents walked in. They don't live in the same city as me. I live about 20 minutes away from them and they just randomly showed up at the store right by my house. They claimed it was to find batteries. At that point my dad confronted David and said that he told him not to be around me and he told me he isn't gonna care anymore and not to go crying to him when I get heartbroken. My mom texted me later saying it was totally the Holy Spirit revealing that something was happening so they can intervene. I'm kinda glad that that happened because after David and I left, it opened up a conversation about what's going on between us. We both enjoy our company and we both have feelings for each other, but we are taking it slow. While we were talking my dad is texting me 3-page essays on why I'm stupid for not doing as he says and that he is no longer invested. He told me David only wants me for one thing and doesn't care about me as much as he does, and that if David is in love with me he'd ask him for permission to date his daughter and play by his rules. David told me he does really care about me and that it's a lie that he doesn't. Anyways, we decided to continue hanging out, especially since my dad said he no longer cares. We both have annual passes to Disneyland, so we decided to go together after work. While we were there my mom and dad texted me asking if I was at Disneyland. I ignored their texts. We were there till closing and as we were walking out my dad walked up to us with a Starbucks bag and asked to talk. David kept walking and said no, and OFC me wanting to keep the peace begged David too and he said no. I told him I'm his ride and he said he'd just get an Uber and I told him no, so I just left my parents there and left. I cried in the car and David told me it's not my fault. While I was in the car I texted my mom how she knew I was there, and she said God is watching, and I asked again how she knew and she said she'd meet me at my house and tell me, and I said no. You will not meet at my house? That's weird mom, how did you know I was at Disneyland? She stopped messaging me and then my dad messaged me this, Op, if you want to know how we knew you were there, you can talk to us in person. We brought peace and we tried to be loving even though I knew David was doing stuff that he said he wouldn't do. I just want him to care for you as much as I do and your mother does, but you're gonna find out honey and it's really sad. He had every opportunity right there to confess his love for you and to ask us for space. We could have had a good discussion, but instead, he was a coward and ran away. From here on out, you are not to come to my home. We can meet in public to talk about how we knew you were at Disneyland because we had every intention of telling you, and that was gonna be part of the conversation. I've never lied to you and I never will. I do not have anything to hide. That conversation could have been great and we're still willing to have it, but David sadly is not. I did nothing to him to deserve the treatment that we got from him, and I've never treated him any way other than I would treat a good son. I hope and I pray that he doesn't do what I know he's going to do. Wolves come into the sheep, and they separate the sheep from the flock. And then they devour the sheep. But the good shepherd will protect you, and if David ever was a sheep, he will listen to the voice of God, the people that loved him and cherished him. I love you, Op, and I wish nothing but the best for you. If you want to talk, we are willing to talk to you about anything you want to know. I responded with, Dad, I don't expect him to be in love with me, that's way too soon. And if you don't want to hide the truth, just explain how you knew I was there. I will not be meeting in person for a conversation that can be had over text. He then responded with, then don't meet with me. That is how it's gonna come out, because you need to see my demeanor and everything. And shame on you guys for trying to point the finger back at us. You guys are the ones that are not doing right and hiding. Literally every box that was checked for you to like David was erased by David. All the things that you liked about him are now gone, and it was by David's own hand. Op, from now on do whatever you want, I'm cutting this pain off. I mean it, don't come by my house because we will not be able to support your drama any longer. You're gonna have to learn the hard way again. The only difference is, now your mother and I are numb and we don't feel anything. God will show the truth, but I wanted to make sure you weren't hurt in the process. I don't care if I don't meet with them or not. I can't handle the helicopter parenting anymore, and I feel that any time I have ever brought a boy around, my dad has to place himself in the middle, forcing the guy out. The guys that have been okay with it in the past end up not working out, BC of my fear that if my dad can control him now, my whole future will still be controlled by him. If I don't do it their way, then I'm doing wrong. I really like David and he likes me. I'm 24 years old, and for once I have a guy that doesn't run away from me because of my crazily super involved parents. I don't know what to do. What I'm concerned about is how my parents followed me there and why. I just don't know what to do. Any advice is greatly appreciated. Thank you for reading as much as you did, and please, any suggestions would help because I feel alone right now. Update 1. I met with them today. My pastor and his wife had my back 100%. My dad told me how they found me. I guess I was still sharing my location with him on my phone through messages. He said God revealed that he still had my location. My parents then drove to my house to see if my car was there. Saw David's car there, we carpooled to Disney, then waited outside of Disneyland till we left. I told them that's freaking weird and that makes me uncomfortable. They said they did it out of love because they were concerned. Basically, my pastor and his wife are 100% behind my back regarding dating who I want, not letting my parents decide. I should have the opportunity to decide if I like the guy first one-on-one, then bring him to meet my parents. It's a little different because we have all known David for years. But still, I have the right to decide when my parents will be involved. My dad did not like this. He said he'd leave the church and then blocked me on all of his social medias. He said he can't stand around and wait for my heart to get broken, and the whole time he was trashing on David. He called me a few names that were extremely hurtful, and I was glad to see the pastor had my back. They told me I am no longer under his roof. I'm not doing anything wrong. The conversation ended with my dad claiming he wants to go no contact, which I'm sure he won't follow through on. It sucks. I love my parents, but in my dad's eyes, if he can't have control over this aspect, I don't get him at all. And that's probably how it's going to be for a while. Thank you guys.